This is part 2. If you haven't seen my video I'd made earlier today, the trap is set. Jamal Javanni is going to save Canada. The secret plan the Liberals and even mainstream media are clueless about, making this a cognito mission unstoppable. Either way, Alberta wins on this one. But in this report, I'm going to be covering Mark Carney was in Ottawa, but he skipped the House of Commons to avoid complete humiliation. Instead, Squeaky Champagne took the full brunt of the conservative force. He couldn't even finish his sentences, and he just started screaming nonstop. Pierre mopped the floor with the Liberals today. Good thing Carney was hiding. It would have been an moment the entire time. EV mandates have been removed, but there is a catch. Doug Ford kiss Mark Carney's badunk-a-dunk. Gary and Carney have agreed to cooperate with China on law enforcement. The US shuts the door on Canada because the Liberals' massive uncalculated mistake. Let's get into this report.
Imagine how the world could be so very fine, so happy together.
You people better wish a happy 92nd birthday to the one, the only Don Cherry, a Canadian hero. Before we go to the House of Commons, where Pierre Poilievre just mopped the entire Liberal caucus, we're going to take a look. RPN is back with an epic video. Check out Michael Ma with his master, Carney, just enjoying a nice walk near the Parliament building, and they're playing at the park, and then he sees Xi Jinping at the beach. Oh, they're having such a great time. Look at Michael Ma. He's in heaven right now. Oh, yeah. And yeah, he's right next to Mark Carney in the House of Commons. I don't know if you noticed, but he's the right-hand man now. So yeah, there he is, walking with his master. In Canada, we suffer dearly. So that's why I want to promote this wonderful channel called RPN. I'll leave a link in the comment section so you could go ahead and follow him. He comes out with these epic videos. Now that we're feeling good, let's go to the House of Commons where Pierre Poilievre, well, we're going to have to call the morgue.
Under this Liberal government and under that particular minister, auto production has fallen by half. Wow. The Prime Minister was elected promising that he would protect the auto industry and get a deal with the U.S. by July 21st. He broke both of those promises, and since there have been job losses at Cami Ingersoll, GM Oshawa, Stellantis Brampton, and PACCAR au Québec. Mr. Speaker, today he finally flip-flopped on his cherished EV mandate, but is bringing in a new subsidy for people to buy American-made automobiles. Why is he forcing Canadian workers to pay taxes to subsidize American vehicles?
Isn't that unbelievable? Let's take a look at Mark Carney's announcement today. Mark Carney's new $2.3 billion announcement.
Our government is launching a new $2.3 billion electric vehicle affordability program. Canadians who purchase or lease a battery electric or fuel cell electric vehicle will receive up to $5,000 and up to $2,500 for plug-in hybrids priced up to $50,000.
While Canadians sleep in tent cities and 2.2 million Canadians visit the food bank, this genius's plan is to subsidize EVs. And you're in luck. I'm a data guy, so let's take a look at some data. Canada's EV industry has a bumpy road ahead, and you're not going to believe this one. Do you know how many EVs Canada has manufactured since the beginning of time? 40,000 EVs have been made in Canada so far in our history. And the average price of a car in 2023, so I'm sure it's more expensive, is $55,800. Mark Carney announced that he would be removing the EV mandate for now, just paused TD came out with a report today. We're going to take a look at what's inside this report. As I just said, the government plans on repealing the EV electric vehicle availability standard, which required 20% of all the vehicles being sold in Canada to be electric. It will be replaced with a new tailpipe emission standard for a model that starts next year. So they're just kicking the can down the road by 1 year. You heard Mark Carney say that you could get $5,000 rebate this year, declining to $2,000 by year 2030. And for plug-in hybrids, the rebate starts at $2,500, reducing to $1,000 by year 2030. But here's the catch. The final transaction value is up to $50,000. Keep that in mind. I got more data for you. The government will also invest $1.5 billion. So we went from 2.3 to 3.8 billion all of a sudden. And there's more money over here. We won't even take a look at that, so that they could build all of these charging stations that we're going to need. Here's the stat. 8.6% of the new light duty vehicle sales are EVs in Canada. And I told you, Canada has only manufactured 40,000 EV vehicles, and we're going to be bringing in 49,000 Chinese EVs, increasing all the way up to 70,000 per year, ladies and gentlemen, over the next 5 years. I can't wait to show you the next set of data. Before I show you the next set of data, Mark Carney said that he will only provide a $5,000 rebate if the car is purchased for under $50,000. Let's test this scenario. We're on autotrader.ca, the 10 cheapest EVs in Canada in 2026. At number 10, the Volkswagen Base. If you're looking to buy this beautiful vehicle, you will not be getting a $5,000 rebate. And at number 9, the Chevrolet Equinox EV, $48,800. But where is this car manufactured? This car is manufactured in the beautiful country of Mexico, not in Canada. And at number 8, the Toyota BZ XLE for $48,000. Where is this vehicle made? This vehicle is made in Japan, with some parts coming from China. And at number 7, you could buy this gorgeous Kia Niro for $47,500 and get that wonderful $5,000 rebate. Where is this car made? This beautiful car could be yours. It is manufactured in South Korea. And at number 6, the Nissan Leaf S Plus, $47,000 to get that wonderful $5,000 rebate. Where is this vehicle made? This car is made in Sutherland, England. You can't make any of this stuff up, Canada. And at number 5, we got the Hyundai Kona Electric, $46,000. Is any car made in Canada? Let's find out. This beautiful car is made in South Korea as well. And at number 4, the Kia EV5 Lite. Look at this gorgeous car for $45,500. Where is this one made? This car is made for the Canadian market, produced in South Korea. And at number 3, the Chevrolet Bolt LT for $42,600. The Surely, this car is Canadian. Nope, not made in Canada. It's assembled in a Kansas, USA plant. So American. And at number 2, Fiat 500e. I would never in my life be seen in this vehicle for $42,000. Where is this one made? So it either comes from Slovakia or it comes from South Korea. You choose, but it's not Canadian. And at number 1, the absolute cheapest EV car in Canada is the Kia EV4 at $41,000. And you guessed it, it's also not made in Canada. It's made in Italy. So you know what that means? None of the cars that get $5,000 rebate are made in Canada. Not even one. 0 cars are made in Canada. Plus the 49,000 EVs from China are coming in. And Mark Carney promised that they would be below 50,000. That means that every single EV vehicle, not every single, but nearly all of the vehicles sold in Canada that they're requiring us to purchase because they're going into this EV mandate are going to be built outside of Canada. And for the vast majority of Canadians, unless you're making hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of dollars, you're going to be buying an EV with the $5,000 rebate, making up probably 99% of all the sales. Canada, you can't make any of this stuff up. If there's a video that you want to share with your friend, this would be the one. Let's not forget what Doug Ford said about all of these Chinese cars.
Well, first of all, anyone who buys these cars, they won't be allowed to go to the U.S. Cybersecurity. I call it the spy car that they're bringing in, and they won't be allowed to get over there. And it's going to tick off the Americans. 80% of our autos are going down there. I believe that speaking to the auto sector, speaking to the supply chain as well, they were coming up with a collaborative agreement, but now throw China in here for what? They aren't going to manufacture here. So it's just a terrible, terrible, miscalculated decision by the Prime Minister. Well, first of all,
and here's another truth bomb.
Jeremy, what evidence do you have that these Chinese EVs would spy on Ontarians or listen to their phone calls? What are you basing that on?
oh, it's very simple. When the Prime Minister and his team are over there, they use burner phones. You're making a deal with a country with burner phones, and Prime Minister did mention when he got elected that the number one country for national security threat is China. And we know when you hook up your phone, they're going to be listening. Simple as that. And anyone who doesn't believe that is very, very naive. So we're going to...
Now that we know Doug Ford's against these Chinese EVs, and we also know that the Chinese EVs will be below $50,000, getting that $5,000 rebate, along with all the other cars that are not manufactured in Canada. Let's hear from Doug Ford today.
You know, I want to address the auto strategy that Prime Minister Carney and the federal government announced today. Today's announcement comes as President Trump continues to take aim at Ontario workers. He's doing everything he can to move Canadian auto jobs south of the border and put Canadian workers out of a job. That's why it's more important than ever.
Wait a second. There's only 9 cars under $50,000 and not one of them is manufactured in Canada. It appears that Mark Carney is anti-Canadian auto industry. But continue, Doug Ford.
Then we come together as a united Team Canada, working together with industry, with labor unions, with colleges, because I know a lot of folks end up in the auto sector after going to college and university, and the federal government as well, to fight for every auto worker in Ontario and across Canada. We need to make our auto sector more competitive. We need to attract new investments to build more vehicles in Canada. And we need to create good-paying auto jobs on factory floors across the province. With this in mind, I'm pleased to welcome and support the federal government's new auto strategy. We have been urging the federal government to end their electric vehicle.
He supports Mark Carney's plan to decimate Ontario's auto manufacturing because they're not going to be creating cars under $50,000 in Ontario. Every EV purchase is going to be from South Korea or China or Europe or Tennessee or Mexico. I showed you all of them. Doug Ford has lost his mind.
Mandate, which makes our auto sector less competitive, undermines investments, and threatens jobs. Of course, we continue to support the manufacturing of electric vehicles right here in Ontario as part of the record $46 billion investments that we made attracted to the province over the past several years.
All of that money is going into the incinerator. $46 billion.
We do not support government mandates that make our auto sector less competitive and less able to attract investment and create jobs. Today's announcement will directly support workers here in Ontario and across Canada by helping our auto sector meet demand and compete on a level playing field.
He goes from Mark Carney is destroying the auto sector to I love Mark Carney's plan to give a $5,000 rebate to cars that are manufactured outside of Canada. Also, The EV mandate that was ripped up is just paused for 12 months. In 12 months from now, there'll be a new EV mandate. Now, Senator John Kennedy speaks to Besant in the United States. The Liberals and Mark Carney have screwed things up so bad. Check this out.
The foremost reason for tariffs is to try to stop other countries from taking advantage of us through either their tariffs or trade barriers. If Canada, for example, came to the United States and said, we're going to zero tariffs in the United States, all of them are off on our end, would you, Mr. President, speaking to our president, go to zero tariffs and then just let Canadian companies and American companies compete on a level playing field?
Absolutely not. As we saw last week, when 2 weeks ago, when Prime Minister Carney went to China, he lowered tariffs on Chinese EVs from 100% to 6%. U.S. has 100% tariff on Chinese EVs. We couldn't let our northern border be used as a way for Chinese EVs to come into the U.S.
Right. Okay.
So I don't know how Mark Carney's going to walk this one back. Look how bad he screwed things up with the United States. And there's more. Here's Melanie Joly today saying this.
And we will build the best cars in the world for the world. And
just so people are aware, China makes these cars for $10,000 US each, and they're luxury EVs. By the time they come to Canada and they add another $25,000 for shipping or whatever it is, they'll be like $43,000. Plus, you get your $5,000 rebate. Remember? There's nobody that's going to be buying Canada's EVs, including Canadians. Let's go back to the House.
EV mandate, but is bringing in a new subsidy for people to buy American-made automobiles. Why is he forcing Canadian workers to pay taxes to subsidize American vehicles?
I know it's Thursday, but I have good news for the leader of the opposition. I have very good news for him, and I have good news for Canadian. It's called the Canada Auto Strategy, Mr. Speaker. In fact, the Prime Minister of Canada today was standing up for Canadian workers, for Canadian industry, for the future of the industry in this country. They can yell as much as they want on this side of the House, Mr. Speaker, but the workers know what we have done for them. They know what we're doing today and what we're going to do in the future. Mr. Speaker, we'll build Canada strong.
The leader of the opposition.
Just so people are aware, Mark Carney did not show up in the House of Commons. We got Squeaky screaming across the aisle because Pierre Poilievre was not yelling whatsoever.
Mr. Speaker, that minister was in charge of industrial policies, the Minister of Industry, while automobile production fell in Canada by half. And now under this Prime Minister, we've lost 5,000 more auto jobs. Here's the deal that he's announced today. The American president will continue to tariff Canadian-made automobiles going into the U.S., while Canadian taxpayers will be forced to subsidize American vehicles coming back into Canada. Instead of subsidizing American vehicles and killing Canadian jobs, why not take our plan to take the GST off Canadian-made automobiles?
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I will tell him that under my watch, for the first time in Canadian history, we brought a European manufacturer to invest in our country, Mr. Speaker. It's called Volkswagen. It's called St. Thomas. It's called the car of the future, Mr. Speaker. Volkswagen has invested a record amount in Canada, Mr. Speaker. They can yell as much as they want, but the people in St. Thomas know who did it. They know what we're doing today, and they know we're going to support our worker, our industry, and the auto sector in this country, Mr. Speaker. Let them continue to criticize.
That thing's going to go bankrupt. That huge investment, and our money's in that as well. It's all going to go broke.
The leader of the opposition.
Mr. Speaker, he's literally yelling for us to stop yelling. This is an example of the liberal illusion. the Prime Minister has put in charge of finance the industry minister who is responsible for auto production in Canada falling by half. Wow. And the present collapse of auto production and jobs in our country. Now, the Prime Minister broke his promise to negotiate a deal with the U.S., and now he wants to subsidize U.S.-made vehicles. Why not take taxes off Canadian-made vehicles so that we can bring home jobs to our country?
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I don't need to speak loud because Canadians know what we did. If he wants to look at what we did under my watch, Mr. Speaker, let him talk about Windsor, Mr. Speaker, and about Nexstar. What we did, Mr. Speaker, is to see where the puck is going. That is truly Canadian. Making sure that we build the auto sector of today, but the auto sector of tomorrow, Mr. Speaker. We understood, and not even just Canadian. Bloomberg said that Canada would have the most complete supply chain when it comes to EV, Mr. Speaker. We are proud of our record. We are proud to invest in Canadian workers, and we'll build the industry of the future together.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Bloomberg just said that the economy in Canada is shrinking under that minister and this Prime Minister, but from failed economic Liberal policy to failed immigration Liberal policy, Liberals have unleashed an extortion crisis by allowing Bishnoi gangsters into our country without screening. Now, they are allowing them to stay here by even after they're convicted if they make a phony refugee claim. Conservatives moved a motion at committee to kick extortionists out of our country after they've been convicted. Liberals voted it down. Wow. Will they join with us, stop obstructing, pass an amendment to the law so that we can kick extortionists and fake refugee claimants out of Canada?
Oh, that's base. That is base. I like that. Base.
Mr. Speaker, when it comes...
Squeaky had enough, beaten up. Like I said, Pierre Poilievre mopped up those Liberals on the floor. I'm going to spare you, Sean Fraser. Jamal Javanni has upset Melanie Joly, rendered her absolutely useless.
If I could ask you about Jamal Javanni, the Conservative MP who headed to the United States, he said that he was going to meet, and I don't have confirmation, this is just through his social media channels, that he was going to meet with GM, and I just wondered if he had asked for a briefing or if you had offered one.
No, I think it's because I actually called him on it, saying that as MP in charge of Oshawa constituents that are working at GM, that are losing their job, why is he just embracing the Trump administration that is putting tariffs on them and having them, lose their job? And why is he basically not denouncing the U.S. auto tariffs? And that's just a question that across Oshawa people are asking.
He says he can be of help to the government by going there. Do you think that's possible?
I'm not in his heart nor in his mind. I'm just looking at what he says and what are the facts. And until I actually said on television that he was not talking and denouncing the GM layoffs, he didn't talk about it. And now he's talking about it. So I think, basically it talks for itself.
Well, you know what? The $51,000 a month bar tab was a bad idea for this woman. Polling Canada, that once ran as an NDP candidate and is a left-wing polling account, started a poll that said, who would you trust more to handle Donald Trump? Currently, there's nearly 11,000 votes, and 70% say Pierre Poilievre. We're so back, baby. We're back. Gary and Mark Carney has agreed to cooperate with China on law enforcement. Stick around because you're going to want to see this one.
Minister, what country is the most active perpetrator of foreign interference targeting our elections and democratic institutions?
Mr. Cooper, I think that's a question best posed to our director from CSIS.
Mr. Chair, through you, we've called out publicly in the past China, Russia, India, and others.
Thank you for that. And I would note that NSICOP in June 2024 identified the People's Republic of China as the biggest perpetrator of foreign interference, as did Madam Justice Hogue, as did CSIS as recently as July of 2025. So in the face of that, and given that we know, and this is to the Minister, that The Beijing-based communist regime has engaged in transnational repression, targeting members of Chinese diaspora communities in Canada. It is a regime that has surveilled, harassed, and intimidated members of these communities. And in doing so, it has shown no respect for Canada's sovereignty, the safety and security of Canadians. So given all of that, how could the Prime Minister possibly have thought it was in Canada's interests to strike a deal to pursue cooperation with the Beijing dictatorship on matters of law enforcement? Minister?
The Prime Minister has outlined on a number of occasions, and most recently and more comprehensively in Davos. We are living in times that are unprecedented, one where Canada needs to broaden its relationships. We are the closest partner to the United States. However, we know that the situation and the trading relationship
Minister, is the PRC a rule of law state? Is it a rule of law state?
If I may just, if you will give me the time, I will respond to your question.
No, my time is very limited, so I'm asking you, is the PRC a rule of law state? Yes or no?
So, Mr. Cooper, I think to your previous question, the Prime Minister has clearly outlined the need for us to expand trade, including,
I'm asking you about
with countries
pursuing
in which
cooperation on law enforcement. So, is it a rule of law state? Yes or no?
Well, Mr. Cooper,
does it have an independent judiciary? Yes or no? These are straightforward questions. Yes or no?
Mr.
Minister?
Cooper, I'm not here as a foreign policy expert, nor
Minister,
an expert on China.
It is obvious
that
Beijing is not a rule of law state. They don't have an independent judiciary. Do they have civilian oversight of the police in Beijing?
Mr. Cooper, to your...
Do they respect human rights? Does the Beijing-based communist regime respect human rights? Yes or no?
Mr. Cooper, if you wish for me to answer the question,
then
I will give you a proper answer. As the Prime Minister has clearly outlined both at Davos and in many other speeches, there is a need for Canada to expand its trading partners. China is one of them. China
I didn't ask you a question about
and will
trading
be the
partners.
largest
I asked
economy.
you about cooperation on matters of law enforcement.
Mr. Cooper, if I...
We're in big trouble in Canada. This Gary guy is in charge of Canada's public safety, and he can't even answer a basic question about China. He says we're expanding our trading relationships, so that also means law enforcement sharing of information. That has nothing to do with trade. It opens up China to be able to mass survey us all. And then they give us all these cheap EVs to accelerate their surveillance. This is absolute insanity. That's it for today's report. Hopefully you checked out the Trap is Set video that I just published. It is worth your time because I believe that the Conservatives are cooking up a plan because they better start cooking quick. Otherwise, Canada is going to be cooked. I'll see you on the next report.